Hello everyone, and thank you for coming back to my channel. This time we're going to learn how to draw a peony, which is going to be the third in my flower tutorial series. If you have watched my chrysanthemum tutorial, you will notice that I start off exactly the same way by drawing a circle and then two dots that represent the top and bottom of the flower. And the distance between those two dots defines its angle. Then the next step is to turn the circle into a sphere by drawing circumferential lines to separate it into slices. Just like in the chrysanthemum tutorial, now it's time to draw upward curving lines starting from the bottom dot. It's also very helpful to draw the axis the flower sits on by drawing a straight line that crosses the two middle dots. This template can be used for any flower that has the same round and bulky shape, like roses for example. Now it's time to draw the first petals. Peonies have large petals, so I'm starting off with only a few petals in the innermost part of the flower. 4 or 5 of them will do. And don't forget to leave a little space in the middle for the hidden petals inside. For the next row of petals, I'm going to follow the outward curves. Starting from the middle dot, I will draw each petal following the curvature of the arrow lines and end them into a circular shape. I really like drawing my peonies round and bulky with most of their petals turned inwards. This is just my personal preference, and you can experiment with different shapes to find the one you like. So when I draw them like that, I can also start the petals from the outside in by drawing an elliptical shape first, which is going to be the part that is turning inwards, and then connect the edges to the middle dot. When I reach the outermost petal row, I will draw most of them completely open or slightly turning, just to show how in bloom and open the peony is. So now that we have drawn the basic design of the petals and their directions, it's time to refine them and clear out the design. Also, now is a good moment to decide which petal overlaps the other. I find that it's very important to draw the middle vein of the petals because it defines its direction and its three-dimensional shape. Especially on petals that curve in a lot, the middle line defines the direction of their curvature. So we're done with the hard part of designing the flower, and hopefully we have something that resembles a peony. But we're not done yet because we can play around with different styles of petals. I will draw 3 common shapes, but feel free to find the style that expresses you the most. I personally really like the first style because it's simple but has 2 elements, the corners on the sides and the little dip on the top, that make it interesting while retaining its roundness. I will also add the veins, which gives it more texture and a sense of direction. Now this one's a little bit trickier, it needs a little bit more work, so I'm going to separate the petal in 3 pieces first. Each piece will have a pointy tip and 2 filigree style corners, and of course add the veins too. I like to add as many veins as there are tips and corners. I remind you that these are only suggestions, and you can look into botanical books or traditional artwork or tattoo designs and decide which style of petal you like, get inspiration and incorporate it into your own art. This last one is, I would say, a combination of the first 2. It's a 3-piece petal but also features a cutout on the top, and because of that cutout I'm gonna add more veins. So let's retrace our initial peony with one of those alternative petal shapes. I chose the third option that I showed you because it features all the different characteristics of the previous 2. It might get a little bit overwhelming and complicated, and it might look wonky and weird when you first try it out, but in time you will get the hang of it. And here's why it's important when you initially draw your design to add the middle vein, because the middle vein is the guide into implementing the new petal shape. So I started out with the outside petals because they either don't curl at all or they curl a little bit, so it's easier to learn how to draw the new shape on them. My advice is not to get hell-bent on trying to make your first design look amazing. If this is the first time you're trying this out with this tutorial and your design doesn't look pretty or doesn't even resemble a flower at all, don't lose heart. It's all about repetition. Once you really get the hang of drawing the basic template of a peony, do not hesitate to make an input of your personal style and your personal twist in it and make it your own. Art is all about enjoying your time doing it and expressing yourself and your aesthetic and the way you're doing things. So please don't get disheartened when it looks very difficult at first and your first attempts look nothing like what you see in the tutorial or any tutorial. Please keep trying and know that improvement comes from repetition and hard work. Thank you so much for watching this tutorial. Keep going and enjoy every moment.